First off, I want to give all praises and glory to the Most High Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. Double honors unto the elders and apostles of GMS who taught me this truth. Salutations to all the brothers out there that's teaching this word in truth and sincerity, in peace, blessings, and healings onto the elect. And just an update on my channel. I took all the end time news off the titles of my videos, and just so I can make the titles longer. I'm just going to have end time news in the thumbnails now. I'm not going to have it in the title anymore. Yahweh Shemashah put the thought in my mind last night, and so I changed it off. So just off of me just laying down and a thought creeping in my head, I did it. So I did it. And and today I only got one article. I didn't get any scriptures ready for this. I'm gonna just go where the Spirit leads me today, and let's go. NATO launches probe into France-Turkey naval standoff over Libya after Paris complaints. So NATO's divided. And this is a prophecy pursuant to Daniel. But I want to read this. This is NATO. NATO was looking into a run-in between the French and Turkish navies. The alliance chief Jens Stoltenberg has said the incident occurred when a French vessel attempted to check a ship suspected of smuggling arms to Libya. We have made sure that the NATO military authorities have investigated the incident to bring full clarity into what happened, NATO Security General Stoltenberg said on Thursday. France has publicly called out fellow NATO member Turkey for its actions, claiming that anarchist frigates were acting extremely aggressive towards one of its naval vessels. The French ship tied to check a suspicious freighter believed to be smuggling arms into Libya in violation of a UN embargo. The cargo vessel, which was escorted by two Turkish frigates, tried to conceal its credentials and refused to say where it was going, while the warships directed their radars at the French ship. After the incident, Paris accused Anarcha of violating the embargo and fueling the Libyan conflict. The main obstacle to the establishment of peace and stability in Libya today lies in the systemic violation of the UN arms embargo, in particular by Turkey, despite the commitments made in Berlin, the French Foreign Ministry said. And these people, the French, the UN, they don't want to help you Libyans. Turkey's trying to get in there and give the people weapons so they can fight back against the oppressors, because it's the beast in that land, tearing it up, point blank period. How Esau wrote, he in there, he killed Gaddafi, and now he in there terrorizing the resources by any means necessary. And that's how Esau wrote. Turkey denied all accusations, insisting that the French have sought to search the vessels in international waters, which was not permitted. It also blamed Paris for exacerbating the crisis in Libya by supporting the so-called Libyan National Army, led by Field Marshal Khalifa Haftar, against the UN-backed government of National Accord (GNA), which Anarcha overly backs. So it's one side versus another side. Whoever's working for the UN in Libya and NATO, they're the sellouts. Point blank period. Paris, however, maintains that it does not support any of the warring parties, but wants them to enter a truce. And you got France and Turkey have a naval standoff, and now you got NATO that's trying to get in between. But France and Turkey are part of NATO and the UN. And let's get Daniel 2:40. This is Daniel 2:41. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of the potter's clay, and part of iron. The kingdom shall be divided, and there shall be in it the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. So the kingdom shall be divided. You know, this is talking about America, NATO, and the EU today. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. You know, partly strong militarily, partly broken, you know, being divided, you know, being divided on many aspects. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with miry clay. So they shall not cleave one to one another. They shall be divided against one another. You know, and that's what's happening. You know, and I want to get a picture because Nebuchadnezzar saw this vision and Daniel broke it down for him. You know, in Daniel 2. You know, you can pause this and read it if you want to. You know, but this basically explains it all. This is GMS's picture. And I want to get also while I'm here. The beast with 7 heads and 10 horns is NATO, the 7 heads, 7 governments of, or kingdoms ruled by Esau. The 10 horns represent the common market or the European Economic Community, the EEC, established in 1948. Today, the EEC is known as the EU, the European Union. So you got Belgium, Denmark, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Greece, Ireland, England, and West Germany. And you also have NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. It was established August 4th, 1949, consisting of 19 nations. Greece, Italy, Spain, France, West Germany, United Kingdom, Portugal, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg, Canada, Norway, Denmark, Iceland, and Turkey. United States, Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic. So, and we can read that in Revelation 13 and Revelation 17. And I stood upon the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And, you know, 7 heads and 10 horns, which is the EU, with NATO, which makes up the whole beast. And America sits on top of the NATO and the EU. As you can see in this picture, it's a great representation of it. But, you know, I didn't really want to get that, but I want to get Ezekiel 38 because, you know, Turkey out there doing its own thing. And, you know, at the end of the day, when World War III pops off, Turkey's going to go ally with Russia. Why is that? Because let's read it. Now, Ezekiel 38, if you read 1 through 5, 1 through 4, Gog and Magog is talking about Russia. And it says, Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. So, in World War III, Ethiopia is going to be with Russia, Iran is going to be with Russia, and Libya. And as you could tell, Turkey's protecting freighters, giving arms to Libya so they can fight back. You know, this is all according to prophecy. And Ezekiel 38 and 6 is Gomar and all of his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters and all of his bands, and many people with thee. And this is talking about Turkey, the house of Togarmah, Gomar. It's talking about Turkey. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Now this is talking about Russia being a guard unto Persia, Ethiopia, Libya, and Turkey. Yeah, so you see why. And it can also go for Turkey being a guard to Libya, because that's what's happening right now. Turkey's over there giving them arms, and now NATO and France are getting into it, trying to expose Turkey for what it's doing. You know what I'm saying? Because Turkey's supposed to be a so-called NATO member. As we got on this sign, you can look it up yourself. You know, Turkey. These nations make up NATO, which is the beast. And just like it said in Daniel 2:40, one of their it will be divided. And you know, Turkey's divided against NATO and the EU. It's probably following Russia's orders to help Libya, you know, because the Edomites killed Gaddafi, and ever since then, that nation hasn't been the same. It's been terrorized by Esau. This is Obadiah 1:7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. You know, this is talking about, if you read up, this is talking about Esau, Edom, right? And then it's talking about America, basically. You can say America. Because it says, in 4, though thou exalt thyself as an eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, then will I bring thee down to the ground. So, NATO, EU, and NATO and the EU. All thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. So this is like, you can symbolize this right now, talking about Turkey. And prevailed against thee. They that eat their bread with thee have laid a wound under thee. There was none understanding in him. So, you know, everybody that was at peace with these Americans, these Edomites, you know, the NATO and the EU, Turkey, you know, he deceived thee. Point blank, period. And I want to get Revelation 17. Revelation 17:16. And the 10 horns which thou sattest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. This is talking about the EU and the NATO. They shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So at the end of the day, it's not just going to be Turkey that turns its back on NATO and the EU and America. It's going to be the EU. It's going to be NATO. And they all going to shoot missiles over here at America. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. They shall hate the whore. Who's the whore? Let's read up Revelation 17:1. And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee that judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Now, if you get this picture, this is symbolizing that America is the great whore. You know, that sitteth upon many nations, that, you know, basically is the boss of NATO and the EU. And it says what? The inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. What's her fornication? Her philosophies. She taught democracy, religion, idolatry, homosexuality, lies, adultery, covetousness, and murder. And it's going to come to a point where Yahweh Shemeshah is going to put in the mind of NATO and the EU that, you know, they're not down with that shit no more. You know, and they're just going to turn their back on America and shoot missiles over here. Just like it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, so they shall hate America. They shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So they're going to obliterate her with nuclear missiles when it's all said and done. But, you know, that's all I wanted to get today. I might get another video. I might do another video, who knows. But double honors unto the elders and apostles of GMS who taught me this truth. And call Allah, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rahak, Kodash.